Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blazing bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you want a man? Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you wanna dance? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
It would be nice if the captions wanted to work. Hold on. There they go. They're like, well, we didn't have to be used on Thursday, so why should we have to be used on Saturday? But hey, we're here, folks. Welcome to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm like, did I get everything else right? Everything else is working. Good. This episode is going to be interesting. We're trying some new stuff out this time around because there's a new event happening, Ahghairon's Day. I guess it's not new. It's the newest, it's the current event. It's been around. It's been around the block a few times. But it's the first time it's happened in the new Event 2.0 system, and we've got a bunch of changes. A bunch of changes to how everything's working. So, of course, that means we have a bunch of changes to how this tutorial show is going to work. Because this is for Ahghairon's Day 2024, but this is part 1? Yeah. This is part 1. Next week, part 2. So we're going to cover the event in general, and we're going to cover the first reworked champion for the event, and then some of the flex champions. And the next week, we're going to come back and we'll do it all over again with the second reworked champion and the rest of the flex champions, because that's how we have to do it. That's just, there's just too much stuff to talk about in one episode now, and then they've split some things up. So we're gonna talk about all that today. Helping me out, in case you have questions, is Gabe. Gabe's in the production booth. Gabe's going to be grabbing your questions, as long as you do what it says in chat and what it says in the little white box down there. Put your question after question, and then we know it's for me and not just for chat, right? You don't have to ask questions just on topic. You can do it about, other, game systems or champions or whatever you'd like to learn about Idle Champions. And we'll get to it in the second half of the show. First half is going to be me talking about the topic. But yeah, we'll get there. All right. I guess we're going to just dive right in. I mean, no reason not to, folks. So normally when there's no event going on, you're probably doing stuff in some of the regular campaigns. But when an event goes on, There's a new little thing at the top of the banner, the campaign banner, that'll say the event's name. And there's also going to be this little notification over here that'll let you access it well as well. Click on it, come over here, you'll have one adventure node that keys off all your stuff for the adventure. And this time around, there's just going to be one champion showing up there. It's Rust, folks. Rust got reworked. This event, there's 2 rework champions. There's no new champions. There's 2 rework champions, plus all the flex champions. Last event, we had 2 brand new champions. So, you know, they're trying out the whole, well, sometimes we're going to do 2 new ones, sometimes 2 reworked, and then the rest of the time, 1 new and 1 reworked. And they're seeing what works best in this new system. So you'll be able to go unlock Rust if you've never unlocked them. You'll do an adventure, and one of the rewards is going to say Rust. Completion area is just 50. It's super easy to unlock champions and events, folks. It's the easiest. Every champion that you access in an event is going to have their own formation layout. Rust's is a boat on the waves, is the best I can tell. It's interesting. If you're a newer player, it's going to be interesting with your core champions. But, you know, people have some swaps. You can make it work. And people have some swaps. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy to get started with this one. In fact, I ran on an established account. You're not going to have any problems at all. I ran this one all the way to 2001 on my first free play. So I don't think anyone with an established account is going to have an issue. But newer players, a little challenging because of the way they stretch out the formation, and with a couple single slots up here. Yeah, I have a guide. Gaarawarr's guide to Ahghairon's Day 2024 is up on the subreddit, folks. It's also posted in the Discord under resources. It's got a suggested formation for Rust for newer players if you need help. Once you do this and you unlock Rust, you'll get access to 3 variants. Now they're going to tell you tier 1. It's going to say tier 1 because events have 4 tiers of variants based off, your ability to progress. This is a permanent progress thing. It's not something that everybody can get through, but you know, you'll do tier 1s. The first, second, and third variant. Each of those is going to reward you a gold chest. When you complete all 3 of them, the event awards you a buff for Rust. Well, from Rust. When Rust is in your formation, there's going to be a buff available. And as you complete each tier, that's how it's going to work. We'll go over that when we get into the campaign UI here in a second, or the event UI. Yeah, but just know you'll have 3 different variants, and this difficulty rating, as with every difficulty rating in the game, is tied entirely to how much favor you have in the event. If you were just starting off, these are going to show as, challenging or impossible or whatever the hardest difficulty is. I can't remember anymore because I never pay attention. And you're going to need to do, like when you're doing your unlock adventure, you're going to need to push further than just the 50 and get some favor. You're going to need to do favor runs. Favor runs are important because until these show as easy, you probably shouldn't even attempt them. Now it doesn't mean that just because they show as easy, they're variants. Just because they show as easy doesn't mean they will be easy. They're the you must be this tall to ride this ride of Idle Champions. It doesn't mean you're going to enjoy the ride. It just means you have met the safety requirements to get on. That's it. And if you sneak on before that, I mean, you might love it. Or it might be the worst experience of your life. So getting it to easy is really a good idea for the tier 1s. Beyond that, favor isn't what makes it. Favor is never really what makes it easy, except for in the beginner stuff. Tier 1 is basically beginner stuff. Tier 2 is, you've been around the block a few times, so you've got some power. Tier 3 is you have way more power and can get lots of favor. And Tier 4 is you're basically late game. You have the equivalent of late game power, even if you could have paid your way to that, or you could have progressed your way to that. Yeah, it's all good. It's a single player game. So just know the tiers are basically power functions. We talk about the variant, or the different variants for Rust. The first one for Tier 1 is going to be require you to get to Area 75. So ignore this. This is Tier 4. This is why Tier 4 requires lots and lots of power. Area 75. The second one is Area 125, and the third is Area 175. That's how all the Tier 1s work. As you go up in tiers, what the restrictions don't get bigger, just the area required to get to. Okay. So starting off with Gold Devourer. Rust begins in the formation. He can't be moved or removed from the formation. They do this specifically so that you're forced to go learn how to use this new champion. They want you. They don't just want you to pick it up and have it sit on your bench forever. They want you to understand how they work. So when they're forcing you to put them in, that's why. That's why. Otherwise, people would just do it with the generic formation that they always use, and they wouldn't learn anything. And they're trying to educate you, right? So the Devourer appears as a secondary boss on Area 25. It must be defeated in order to advance. Folks, welcome. If you're new to Idle Champions, welcome to one of the most hated bosses in all of the events. It's Ahghairon's Day. It's the Devourer. The Devourer is a pain. Is a pain. The Devourer is the Area 50 boss normally, and in this variant, they're giving it to you every 25 areas because they thought you weren't getting enough of the Devourer in your life. The Devourer, as we'll see in a bit, we will hop into one of these and we'll show off the Devourer. The Devourer lives up to their name. They walk out onto the screen, or they start on the screen. I can't remember. They've made changes to the Devourer over the years into how they present. And their attack is basically they devour one of the members of your party. They literally pluck them out of the formation, shove them in their belly, and you can see them because there's like an open rib cage situation. And then they process you. Basically, there's a countdown timer while they're dissolving your party member, where they won't attack again. But then they will, and they'll just do it again. And there's like, the only way you can stop this is by killing the Devourer. And they're not someone you can one-shot. This is a hit-based boss. I mean, it's a segmented health boss, meaning they have a number of times you have to hit them to kill them. You gotta hit them 50 times. So, fast attacking, multi-attacking, extra credit, something. You gotta do something, because you gotta get rid of the Devourer. And you gotta get rid of, because they can walk out with extra enemies, you gotta get rid of them too. But the Devourer is no good, no fun, very bad. Now, crowd control effects like stuns can help. Again, I'm pretty sure nowadays, I'll be reminded when I get out there. I think it just swallows right away, and then you're like devours right away, and then so you're basically going to be down a person, and you kind of have to hope it's not whoever is helping you really, like either with multi attacks or extra credit, get rid of them. Otherwise, you're just going to have to go back a level and do it again. Yeah. So the Devourer is rough, folks. We all know it's rough. It's rough. So this variant, even though it's just, it's a short run to 75 for the Tier 1 one, it can be problematic because of that. You have to defeat the Devourer 3 times on the way to 75, or to complete 75. Now the next one is Gold Find is reduced by 99%. And I whenever we have these times of X is reduced by 99%, newer players get a little scared. And I want to tell you, don't panic. Just grab your towel and everything will be fine. This is a game that deals with large numbers. As you can see, I have E93 favor up here, which then is, of course, E93 Gold Find. This is a very large number. This is not 100 favor, which is a very small number. 99 reducing my 100 favor by 99% gives me 1 favor. That's a problem, right? That would be a big problem. But when you have E93 favor and you remove 99%, you got like E91 favor. It's like E92-ish. That's not a reduction that matters. So just know, basically, getting a lot of favor is helpful, and as long as you have more than what you would normally need for, the Area 75 one in Tier 1, which I think means as long as all of these show green, this isn't going to mean anything to you. Even if this was the only thing that was here, it wouldn't mean much to you. Now, the next restriction isn't really a restriction, it's kind of a boost, and it helps to negate this, and its gold find is increased by 200% for each champion with the gold roll, stacking multiplicatively. This is the gold find roll. And it stacks multiplicatively, which means, if you have enough champions with the gold find roll, like Rust has it, else then the core champion has it, Jarlaxle, suddenly you're just blowing your gold find up, and then this doesn't mean anything at all. This is why they pair this stuff together, to create a problem and then help you solve the problem with the new champion. And Rust really likes other champions that have the gold find rolls, so yeah, that's kind of how you deal with this. All right, Dead Winter Drama, that's the next one. This one's more straightforward restriction. Only champions with con of 14 or higher can be used. It doesn't say anything about Rust. You don't have to have Rust here at all, right? But con 14 or higher, just make sure, you got to have a decent group of con 14 or higher. If you're restricted out, if you have like slots you can't fill, and you're, in Tier 1, more favor is going to help. Tier 2, it could help. But, losing champions is a lot of power. So every area of frozen skeleton archers that attack a random champion from range appear. Now this means they're not attacking your tank. They can attack anyone in the party. They don't drop gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. If any undead enemy, including those frozen archers, attacks a champion, that champion's stunned for 1 second. So you're going to be having random people in your party stunned. The key to overcoming this, there's 2. One is favor. You knew it was coming. You did. The other is those fire breath potions you have, because those with a familiar on the field. Because with those fire breath potions, even if like your DPS gets stunned, the fire breath will still be killing things based off the last time your DPS wasn't stunned and attacked. So no, there's tools. You have tools to get further, right? Heads or tails is the final variant. Rust begins in the formation in slot 6. Now, when they do this, they can't be moved. I forgot to point this out. Up here and up here. This is slot 6. They put a C in the formation to show you where the champion is. Okay, that when it's in a fixed location. So this is where Rust is going. Can't be moved or removed. When Rust is not holding his shiny gold piece, adjacent champion damage is disabled. When Rust is holding his shiny gold piece, non-adjacent champion damage is disabled. Now, we haven't talked about Rust yet, so this probably doesn't make any sense. But TLDR, all Rust cares about in the world is getting 1 gold piece. He functionally can't process more than 1 gold piece. 1 gold piece is everything. So he gets a gold piece as part of his kit, and sometimes he loses it, and then he has to get it again. I highly recommend, just for this one, because of the way the mechanic works, go off when Rust is holding his gold piece, non-adjacent champion damage is disabled. Just make sure your DPS is next to Rust, and you're going to be totally fine. Just build your formation that way, and it'll be fine. The way Rust works currently, he only loses his coin if he hits his ultimate. You can do this without ever using his ultimate. So, pretty straightforward now for the third variant. All right. Let's talk about the event in general a bit. We talked about Rust, but let's cover this before we hop in and go over Well, we talked about Rust variants. Before we go over Rust specifically and over some of the Flex champions, let's talk about how all this event UI works. So as you can see over here, we have a list of the champions that you're going to get in this event. Normally, there's 2. Well, now there's 1. You can click on them and get more information, lots more information about tiers and rewards and things over here. Or you can just hover. Here's those buffs we were talking about. The top. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. If you complete those are the buffs you get as you go down. And then tier 3 and tier 4 offer rewards if you can complete them. So for Rust, it's a feat in each one. And they're nice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Eliwick is going to drop. You can't even click on her. She's going to drop in the next week, 4 days, 2 hours. So on Wednesday. And then along with Rust, you get a free flex slot. Free! And you can flex one of all of these champions. They're available in Ahghairon state. We're going to talk about how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to talk about 5 of these this week. We're not going to talk about all of them, but I'll go over 5 of them. And next week we'll go over the rest. So as you can see, next week, along with Eliwick, there's going to be another one of these that's going to unlock another flex slot. That one takes 3 time gate pieces. That's how events work now. And then there's the third one, the final week, the final Wednesday, and that one takes 3 time gate pieces. And then there's this one down here that says unlock the supporter slot now by purchasing DLC containing an event boon. So this is another flex slot that you can get. It takes buying some kind of event DLC that has a boon. Well, what's an event DLC? Well, you know, there's some listed right over here. So there's currently a Masquerade Ball Rust theme pack. It comes with +1 event boon. There's an Avatar of Azuth Familiar, +1 event boon. This little box offer here, I just want to point out, these are listed in the store. This one never is. You can only access it from here, and sometimes it's pretty good. It changes every 24 hours, as you can see. The current one is just, I don't know. When is it just? Oh, it's a skin. Okay, I was like, what exactly is it? It's this skin, the Dragonlance Rust. Okay, so it's a Dragonlance pack. They're bringing back the Dragonlance skin, or maybe they made it. I don't know. I thought this one was out before. I could be wrong. But this is what you're looking for. Hey, it comes with an event boon. And that means it's going to unlock that supporter slot. It also comes with a bunch of the event tokens and a bunch of other things, obviously. But as you can see, it doesn't really show up in the store over here as a pack. So you can only access it from that UI. But all of these are gonna include, one event boon. As long as it shows one event boon, it's an event pack. Now you can even come over here to chests. Now 3 of them isn't going to get you an event boon, but 7 and up will. Also includes an event boon and a lot of loot strings. So there's a lot of different ways to get event boons. Okay, and that's important because, hey, look, event boons. There's a tracker here, and every time you unlock an event boon, up to 4, it earns you basically buffs. And these buffs, if you look at them, they're basically potions, but they're constantly running. So the first one is there's damage of all champions, there's gold find, there's health, there's bud, there's speed, so fire breath speed. There's a new one. We'll talk about that in a second. That has to do with augments. But yeah, as you can see, the amount, it goes up based off how many boons. So if you're supporting the game with cash, you're getting more power to clear stuff in the game. They're like, oh, sure, yeah, we'll reward you. Now, it only lasts until the event ends. So if you feel like you're gonna, get boons, it's best to get them early, because then you get more use out of them. It's just the way it works. All right, up here in this UI, you will see loot strings. So this is where those event tokens that you're picking up are, you'll see your total. You also see the favor. Now these nowadays, if you're returning from the past, the event tokens aren't used to access content anymore. Now you just go over to the shop, like this shop, and up here at the top, access the type of the champion you want to buy chests for, and you pay for them with your tokens, and that's it. It's 2 silvers, 1 gold per 7,500 tokens. Real straightforward to get your gear. Right. You also see active augments. Now, this is a new thing. This is only the second time we've had augments on an event. Maybe. I don't know. All the event stuff is new. This time around, we get 4. That's these symbols down here. So augments are basically a system where they're trying to make each event feel a bit different. Even though the structure and format is exactly the same. It's always 2 featured champions, a free flex slot, 2 time gate flex slots, and a supporter flex slot. This is the way it works. But these make it, function a little different. This time around, we have 4 augments. We had 2 last time. We have 4 this time. The first one is daily rewards. Check back every day to claim daily event rewards, and that's right over here. And this is the only way you can access it. Boom. It's a real straightforward interface. You click it, it opens up. Every day, there's a reward during the event, because the event lasts for 21 days. There's a reward available for you. You have to claim it in that 24-hour period that consists of that day. Days start at noon Pacifically and end at noon Pacifically. 24 hours later. Shocker. Right? If you miss one, it will be red. There will be a red X. You can't claim it. You can only claim a current day. I've been good on this account. I've been logging in and claiming mine every day. But on another account, I checked it, and yeah, it X's out. You can't claim a past day. So this was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today's Saturday. In 2.5 hours, when the time swaps, when we get to the noon Pacifically, I'll be able to claim 2 gold rust chests. That's what it is. But we got event tokens, we got chests, we got corrupted gems, supply chests, time gate pieces. This is next Wednesday, and this is the Wednesday after. 3 time gate pieces. That means your flex slots are free if you log in on the Wednesday. Which is fantastic for new players. Established players like me, I'm like, well, I got like hundreds of them. But new players, super helpful. Make sure you're logging in and getting your stuff, right? But yeah, you'll see different variations of all this throughout here. This is again, the first time we've ever gotten daily rewards like this in an event. We've gotten them for like meta events, like champion events. We've gotten for meta events, which is like every 3 months, there's like a quarterly event. And there's for 7 days, you log in and get rewards. Yeah, it's been great. But this is the first time they've done it for an event. And I think they presented it pretty well. All right, next up on the event augments, multi-tier. Lealude Dallas, multi-tier? No. Completing an event variant in a high enough area will award multiple tiers of progress. Okay, let's go back out here. Remember, mine showed tier 4 complete. Because I unlocked Rust a long time ago, because Rust has been in the game for a while. He just got a full rework. I had already completed tier 1. I mean, that was always the basic event stuff. So I logged in and I had tier 2 to do. But instead of doing tier 2 and like running until it said complete and leaving, right, at whatever the tier 2 goal was, which, hold on, I get that. I've got that around here somewhere, don't I? I don't. That's good job, Gaarawarr. Hold on. I got it over here. Tier 2 is 250. Like, would get me area 250. I'm like, well, I'm just going to shoot for the tier 4 goal. 1200. And so on the tier 2 variant, I pushed all the way past 1200 and then reset. And it didn't show me anything different at the end of the screen. It said I'd completed the variant. I'd earned 1 gold chest. And it didn't mark in the campaign, in the event UI, that I had gotten any credit forward. But when I looked in my inventory, I'd gotten 3 gold chests instead of 1. That's currently the only way it tells you that you just did three tiers of it at once. I did, and then I went to this one, and then I went to this one, and once I did, it then showed that I had credit for all of them. And it gave me all of the rewards and the buffs, everything. So, multi-tier could use a little clarification, like for us to know that we got it. Other than just the gold chest, because you're not always looking, and the UI doesn't tell you you got more. You have to go look in your inventory. But you are, if you go to the high level requirements, and I've got them listed like Rust's for Rust. They're listed in Rust's guide. I updated his guide this week. You'll find the area you need to shoot for, and you'll see, and you'll get that extra credit. So it's a real multi-tier is a real time saver, basically, which is fantastic. The next augment is boon enhancement. An additional boon buff at each level increases gems dropped from bosses. Yeah, we saw that. Increase gems dropped from bosses 20%, 40, 70, 100%. Basically, hey, we heard you like gems, so we gave you some gems with your gems. Right? They just added another, basically like a gem hunter potion down here. Fantastic. What a great combination with multi-tier. So if you're a financial supporter of the game, you can just run to whatever your highest tier normally would be in one run, and then spend the rest of your time in the event farming gems. Sure. Yes, please. Yes, please. All right, worth the wait. This is the final one. Rebalance champion Eliwick releases at the start of week 2 of this event. Completing her tier 2 and up variants awards double chests. So basically, they're like, well, we know she got put off to the second week, and we're just going to give you a little bonus for waiting. They're trying that out. They're trying all of these out, right? They're seeing if people like them, if people are interacting with them, what's the community sentiment. Like in places like Reddit and Twitch and the Discord, but also just at internal metrics. Are people actually playing more? They're interacting with stuff. How is that looking? So it isn't just all public feedback. It's also internal metrics, and then they'll decide what they want to do in the future. That's the way all this stuff is, and even swapping these, they'll probably try it for a while, and then they'll see. But yeah, so this is all the new event stuff. There's a lot going on in this event, but I'm here for it. All right, real quick, let's go over just the group of champions here before we dive into a Rust free play, and we'll go over Rust and then some of his compatriots here. Ishi is available. Shandie, Jim, Beetle and Grim, Omen, Prudence, Valentine, Voronika, and Lae'zel. And as you'll see, year 1, year 2, year 2, year 3, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 5, year 6. Why are there multiple years? Well, some of these champions were in a different event, and that event has gone away, and now they have been merged into Ahghairon's Day, while the rest of these were always Ahghairon's Day champions. But now all of these people are a part of Ahghairon's Day. Importantly, Rust and Eliwick come from other places. They will go back to their events later, but this right now they're in Ahghairon's Day. So, just off the top of my head, if you're a newer player, it is highly important for you to look at the seat that a champion is in, and you should be flexing in part based off seat, and if there's multiple people in the same seat, then off functionality in that seat, because you should be aiming to get 2 champions in every bench seat, so you can unlock an adventure called Split the Party, which rewards you a second background party, so you can do 2 things at once in the game, and a Modron core. Modron cores are super important. They allow for the second form of automation in the game, but Familiars are the first form, Modron cores are the second, and they also have all kinds of power and buffs available in them, so it is a form of power progression in the game as well. So moving to getting to 2 champions in every seat is important to get to Split the Party. Your next goal then is 3 champions in every seat to get to, you guessed it, Split the Party 2, because that gives you another background party. So you'll have 3 parties total, and another Modron core, arguably one of the most functional in the game, most used, the Fast core. It's called the Fast core because it's got speed effects in it, and it's lovely. I primarily, I think most people, I went all the way to area 2001 in the event. This event using a Fast core. So, it's great. Work towards that. There's going to be a lot of conversations about who's the most who's the strongest and that you should pick that. Look, when you're new, I've started a new player account every year since this game started, and we're almost about to hit year 7, right? Or we're almost we're in year 7. We're almost about to hit year 8, and the game will have been out for 7 years. Everybody is going to do fine when you're new. Fill those bench seats in, get yourself your swaps, and get yourself working towards your Modron cores. It's more. You'll have plenty of time to collect the OP people. All right. Let's hop into here, and we'll. Ain't got a lot of time to talk about these champions, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get in here and do it. All right. I'm gonna say, good familiar choices today. Nice. Oh, I'm like Eliwick's friend. All right. So let's talk about Rust. Rust is over here. Seat 11. This is what I use as the default skin for Rust, folks. This is the normal default skin, but this is Landlubber Rust, and I mean, come on. I gotta. It's just fantastic. Let's talk about Rust. All right. Rust joins us from the Oxventurers Guild as an affiliation. This is a full affiliation, so all the members are currently in the game. Male Tabaxi Rogue, neutral alignment. That means neutral on both axes. So neutral on lawful chaotic, neutral on evil and good. So true neutral, as some people might list it. Support and gold, right? Overwhelm is 5. That's the way all squishies usually are. Their base attack is both melee and ranged because it switches from stabbing someone with a rapier, to bang, shooting somebody with their pistols. Okay. Their ultimate is called Cannonball. They load themselves into a cannon and fire themselves towards the enemies, dealing damage in a large area upon landing. If they have their shiny gold piece, they drop it while flying through the air. They have it. Look, folks, there's the UI. You can see it's all shiny and gold. Now, if I fire this off, it goes away. There's the cannon. They drop the gold piece on the ground. Now they don't have it anymore. Now they picked it back up again. All right. That's how their ultimate works. All right. Ability-wise. Now, again, Rust just got fully reworked. So if you have seen Rust in the past, Rust got way better. Spoiler alert. Hello, friends. Rust increases the damage of all champions by 400% for each champion in the formation with the gold find roll or with the Oxventurers Guild affiliation. And it stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. Okay? So if just for people who are not who haven't dealt with multiplicative goodness before, 400% as a multiplier is 5x, 5 times, right? It's 5 times as much. If you were just additively stacking, 5 plus 5 would be 10. Whee! Easy to figure out, right? But when you're multiplicatively stacking, 5 times 5 is 25. That's way better. Way better, right? Now that would just be with 2 members of the Oxventurers Guild or 2 people with the Gold Find roll. You can have 10 people in a party, and it can be a mix of Oxventurers and Gold Find. They're all going to count. And then what you get is that 5x multiplier to the power of 10. Which, so base values, that's a 9.76 EO6 buff instead of 400%. Right? It's a big deal. So this potentially very big deal, right? And that's before the fact that, hey, Hello Friends has an item down here. Now the item is post-stack. Rust doesn't have any pre-stack multipliers. Doesn't need them. Usually I'm like, we want that, but no. He actually doesn't need them. He's strong enough without them, folks. Rust for Hire This is their gold find ability. They just straight up increase your gold find bonus up here at the top left. That's their thing. They're just going to buff your gold find, and they've got an item for that, and so the higher the item gets, the better. One of those event packs that's available, that's rotating in the event UI itself, has a golden for this. So if you're really all in on supporting the game and you want a lot of gold find, that's a good pickup for you. 1 gold piece. This is a big one, folks. This is one of the big abilities here. Assuming Rust does not already have one, he has a 10% chance to find a shiny gold piece after any kill that drops gold. So anyone can kill, even your click damage can kill. All right. Each time Rust finds a shiny gold piece, he gains a riches stack. Rust increases the effect of Hello Friends by 10% for each riches stack he has, stacking multiplicatively. See where this is going? Rust loses his shiny gold piece whenever he uses ultimate. Riches stacks are capped at the highest area unlocked, divided by 5, rounded up. So right now we are at 8. So 8 divided by 5 is going to be 1 point something, and they're going to round it up to 2. If I come over here and I look at 1 gold piece, look, riches stacks, max 2. Already giving me bonuses. Yes, there's an item for that. It's post stack, and it needs to be. Here's the thing. So if we just do some straight math, if the highest area you can get to in the game is 2001, but let's just cut that in half and say you're trying to get to area. You can get to area 1000. At area 1000, you could have 200 stacks, right? Because divide by 5, and it's a 10% boost with to the order of 200. Feels like it's small bonus, right? But the thing is, as you can see, we're getting the multipliers already with post stack multipliers, and even at just 2 stacks, getting like an EO4 buff. This one can go up real big, but it's based off progress. There are ways to make it so that cap is the base. There's ways to raise the cap, and that's important. I will say it is locked in with your ability to fire off your ultimate. And I have a capped ultimate, which is 45 seconds. That means it's going to take a while, if I had 200 max stacks available, to earn those 200 stacks. In fact, his achievement is based off this. And it really just takes you parking Rust in an area, or just, letting him run and pardon a familiar on the ultimate, pushing deep, putting in feats, choosing a spec that boosts the cap so that you don't have to push as far. Because I'm just going to go look at where's his achievement. It's not under Ahghairon's Day, is it? They didn't move it properly, did they? No, that's right. I think he was under Midwinter. Wasn't he for Midwinter? Yes. All right. So his achievement is 300 stacks. You have to actually get 300 stacks. Well, normally that would mean getting to area 1500 in one adventure. That's way too deep for the vast majority of players to get to. But if you use the feats, a feat is available to everyone. The other is unlocked by pushing real far. So if you use the feat and his specialization, you can make that achievement achievable for you. All right. So, but just know 1 gold piece is a big deal. Stacking that up is important. You want it. Highest bidder. Rust increases the damage of all champions by 100% for each order of magnitude of your gold find percentage, stacking multiplicatively. Once again, that's the good way, folks. Yes, there's an item for this. No, it's not. Again, there's no pre-stack stuff here. But let's go over here. I have a lot. I have 103. I have a lot of favor in this. This is not your reality. But I want you to know. I love my reality. This isn't 103 stacks. Is an E35 buff to the damage of all the champions in your party. That's just 1 buff. Folks, There are champions in this game that don't have an E35 total buffage, and he's got it in 1 buff. Rust is real strong. Now, here's the thing. It requires you to be able to earn a lot of favor. What do you need to earn a lot of favor? Generally speaking, a lot of power already. So Rust is rewarding lots of power to people who already have it. I want to be very clear. And if you can build around like a gold find party, you can give your gold find party a lot of damage. A lot more than it would normally have. But you're making a trade-off there, right? Generally speaking, you would just park them in a normal party and enjoy whatever this big bonus came out. And spoiler alert, he can get another E30 bonus when he's built right. So Rust's rework is real good, folks. Pick up Rust today. 3 specializations are all new. Get rich quick, even more riches, and Rust's fever dream. Get rich quick. When Rust uses his ultimate, all other champions with the gold find roll or from the Oxventurers Guild have their remaining ultimate cooldowns reduced by 10%. If for some reason you're just trying to spam your ultimate super fast, you go with that one. Not for the achievement, though. For the reason that even more riches, we're going to talk about that. But for any other reason you want quick ultimates, Rust can get you there if you're Oxventurers or gold find. Even more riches. Rust increases the cap of 1 gold piece's riches stacks by 20% for each champion in the formation with the gold find roll or the Oxventurers affiliation, stacking multiplicatively. You can get Rust's cap so ridiculously high with this. And when you do, that buff gets so ridiculously large. But again, you're then going all in on an Oxventurers gold find formation. Wildness, folks. I said this a while back, and I want to point, and I don't think a lot of people in the community really took it seriously. I said they're really leaning into this feeling of if a new champion or a rework doesn't feel OP, then we haven't done it right, which is way different than they used to. They used to be like, well, we're shooting in like a 1 through 5 scale. We're shooting for 3s. Well, now they're shooting in that same 1 through 5 scales for like 6s and 7s. And they really nailed it with Rust. All right. Rust's Fever Dream is probably the funnest one. It isn't the most OP one, but it's fun. Whenever Rust uses his ultimate, the weather changes to raining gold, causing gold coins to rain from the sky. You gain gold equal to 5% of a monster kill, including your gold find modifier, in the current area every second. This is basically, like we've had Azaka farming in the game. We have dirty farming currently in the game, and now here's Rust farming. I got to go with this one, folks, because you just look. It's raining gold. Hallelujah. Look, it really is gold. It's gold coins coming down. Do you know how much this would hurt? It hurts so much. Yeah. As long as you stay on an area, as long as I never move forward from this area, it's going to rain gold. The entire time. There's no time limit. 5%. Just, yeah. 5% every second. It's, look, you want Rust in your Azaka farm or your dirty gold farm. No matter how you're farming for gold, you want Rust in that party, and you want that spec, and you want this. Just add this. Just add it. Just add it. All right, next up, Rags to Riches. Whenever Rust is holding a shiny gold piece, he increases the effect of Hello Friends by 200%. Whenever he's not holding his shiny gold piece, he increases the effect of Rust for higher by 200%. Most of the time, you're going to have the coin, so it's going to be a buff to your damage. in the moment right after you hit your ultimate, it's going to boost your gold find. But then he's going to, if you're killing things, he's going to pick that coin back up real quickly. So not as strong on gold find as he did before, but everything else super amazing. Gear wise, damage all champions. Again, an item for everything. 1 gold piece, rust for hire, highest bidder, hello friends, and then reducing the ultimate attack. Feat wise, damage all champions. You can increase stacks. Rust 1 gold piece, right? You can do hello friends, rust for hire. Lots of rust for hires, which is good. These should have had the gold find logo on them. I don't know why they didn't. You can buff 1 gold piece. You can buff rags to riches. This int feat that you get from completing the tiers, this is to get access to Strahd. Right, so lots of stuff here. The only thing he's actually missing is actual gold find feats. That's odd. He has the gold roll. He should have had default gold find feats. I don't know what was going on there. He should have had like a green and a blue, and he doesn't. And again, these rust for hire should have the gold find thing, so you know this is boosting his gold find. But yeah, that's rust. All right, we're gonna dive into. We're gonna quickly cover 5 of the other champions here. Let's cover a couple with the gold find roll first. Omen drawn, CEO of Acquisitions Incorporated, and your friend, my friend, everybody's friend, Valentine. So let's start with that. Well, and one more. Let's throw one more in. We got Ishi over here, right? Yeah, let's throw in Ishi. We're just group them all up together. We're having a fun little party. All right. Let's talk about these 3 because they got the gold find rule. So they would work in a Rust group if you want. We'll start with Omen. Omen joins us from Ack Inc. I would say this is a full affiliation, but they keep adding people to Ack Inc. live shows, so you never know who might show up. Male half-elf cleric, lawful neutral, healing support, and gold find. Base attack just smacks the nearest enemy with a maul. Champion of Tymora. Omen recruits adjacent champions. Champions affiliated with Ack Inc. Champions affiliated with the C Team. And champions adjacent to an Ack Inc. or C Team member to be champions of Tymora. There's a lot going on there. But this is a spreader effect. Omen's a man spreader. He's a buff spreader. He wants to spread this buff. And so he recruits people next to him. And that's all he can buff. But then if there's another C Team or Ack Inc. member, you place them somewhere else, and they get it, and then they buff that people adjacent. So you can spread this throughout the whole formation. Champions of Tymora have their damage increased by a lot, and Omen counts as a champion of Tymora. Adventure Capital. Omen increases the party's gold find each time a champion of Tymora attacks an enemy, and it stacks additively. So the longer you have Omen in the formation, and you have and the more people you have that are champions of Tymora, and they're out there attacking, they're ramping up your gold find continuously. Additive stack, but continuous. Okay, additive means diminishing returns. Are going to kick in. You got to make a judgment call for yourself. Known associates is what makes the champions of Tymora spread by Ack Inc. and C Team people. Light of Tymora heals all champions of Tymora. So when you're spreading the buff through the party, you're spreading heals through the party as well. Spec choices, form ranks, favored friends, long-term investment. With form ranks, Omen increases the effective champion of Tymora by 50% for each champion of Tymora in the formation, and it stacks multiplicatively. So this could be, if you're able to spread it through the whole group, could be a solid buff, right? Favored friends, Omen increases the effective champion of Tymora by 100% for each Ack Inc. and or C Team champion in the formation, again, stacking multiplicatively. If you're going all in on Ack Inc. and the C Team, this could be a really big buff. Your results may vary. Long-term investments. Omen increases the effective champion of Tymora by 1% for every 10 stacks of adventuring capital, stacking additively. Remember, adventuring capital is building your gold find based off champions of Tymora attacking. if you're going for the long haul, if you're going to be in this for a while, this may actually end up being, and you can spread it through the whole party, this may actually end up being the biggest thing. Short runs, you would go for one of these, right? But if you were going for a deep favor run, this might be it. We're going to go with that one. We're going to go with that one. Let's max him out. Any day now. There we go. All right. Omen would love this. Oh my god, it's raining gold. You'd be like, what? This is the best thing ever. Best day ever. The Spirit Guardians is ultimate. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Well funded. The effect of Champion of Tymora is increased by 20% for each order of magnitude of gold you have collected in the current adventure, stacking multiplicatively. So again, the longer you're doing this deep run, the longer you're going and the more gold you're earning, the stronger he's going to make things. And it stacks multiplicatively. Remember, that is the good way. So if we look over here, Adventuring Capital, current stacks, we got a couple hundred. It's already up to E6. We only just started, right? Long-term investment, it's super low because we just haven't done anything yet. Well-funded, though, 112 stacks, already an E10 buff, right? It's not going to get a whole lot. I mean, it could get a bit higher than that, but this one doesn't pop off like Rust's. Item-wise, nope. Ultimate, Spirit Guardians. Omen summons 15 Spirit Guardians, which explode every 2 seconds, so this lasts for 30 seconds. Math. Damaging all monsters in a large area. The effect of Champion of Tymora is increased as long as a spirit remains. So there they are. They're kind of hard to see here in the snow, but they're going to roam around for 30 seconds. And for 30 seconds, Champion of Tymora is buffed. Item-wise, damage all champions, Adventuring Capital, Champion of Tymora, Light of Tymora, that's the healing one. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. You might notice I tend to use Omen to make me money. Come on. We've got damage of all champions. We got generic gold fine. We got Champion of Tymora. We got Adventuring Capital. We got Light of Tymora. We got well funded. And you can boost the specializations so that they can be even better too. You can push with Omen. I use Omen to make me money, as you can see. I use Omen to make me money. All right, let's talk about Ishi. Ishi is not affiliated with any group currently in the game. Female, Kobold, Fighter, Rogue, Chaotic Good, DPS, and Gold. So she's the killer. She wants to be the killer, at least. Melee attack is Quick Strike. Ishi attacks the frontmost enemy a quarter second faster than anyone else. It does not matter what her base attack cooldown is unless everyone else in the party has something way higher. If somebody else in the party has a 2-second cooldown, she attacks at 1.75 seconds. She always goes first. Now, if you're at animation cap for her, she can't go faster. But that's just the way any of this works. Ultimate attack, confidence boost for 58.38 seconds? I don't know what's going on there. Ishi's damage is increased by 100% for each non-human in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So a nice little I want more power button. There she goes. She gets bigger. She gets bigger. I mean, you can barely notice, but she did get bigger, and now she's going to attack harder. Go Ishi. Ishi loves non-humans. If you didn't get that from the ultimate, monsters or people too will help you out. It increases Ishi's damage by 200% for each non-human champion in the formation. Now remember, non-human means non-humans. This is an elf. He's not a human. He's a half-elf. He's not a human. Half-elf, not a human. Rust, Tabaxi, not a human. So right now, Ishi's sitting pretty with 3 friends that aren't human. Now this one stacks additively. Ishi's an older champion. She has not been updated yet. And most likely in the future, with the way things are going, she'd probably have this just stack multiplicatively, right? Let's find some treasure. This increases all gold found by 50% for every non-human champion adjacent to Ishi. Now again, additive, because it isn't calling out multiplicatively. Stack, or you want non-human people around her. You can obviously, depending on the formation, this is going to vary. The most you could ever have is 6, which would be 300% more gold find. Again, this could change at some point in the future. Treasure Hunter increases the effect of Let's Find Some Treasure by 100% for 5 seconds whenever Ishi gets a kill. Sure. Right. She is the DPS. She wants to kill things, and that's going to help you make more money. Specialization. This is based off your group composition. She can be a friend to shorties, a friend to tall monsters, or a friend to tall folk. So shorties, we got what? Dwarf, gnome, halfling, kobold, nerds, plasmoid, sorial, goblins. Tall monsters, so many. From Aarakocra to Yuan T. Figure it out. Tall folk. This is, Asamars to Warforged, right? Lots of things. The one thing not noted here, humans. She doesn't care about humans, folks. Doesn't care about humans. All right. Folks, I'm seeing some questions in chat that don't have question colon in front of them. So if you're just asking chat, that's fine. But if you're asking me, make sure to put question colon in front of it so that Gabe can grab them and put them in a document. I'm only seeing like 7 over here, and I know there's probably more questions. I've seen a few more questions get asked. But they don't get grabbed if you don't have question colon. If you do put question colon, you only got to ask it once. All right, so that's the spec choices, and then you're done. Again, Ishi is an older champion, very straightforward. Item-wise, a pair of self-damage items and monsters are people too. Let's find some treasure. Ultimate attack, ultimate cooldown. Feats are limited. Again, damage all champions, gold, self-damage. Monsters are people too. That's it. That's all we got. That's all we got going on for Ishi. Valentine joins us from the Black Dice Society. This is a complete affiliation in the game. Female, reborn half-elf, sorcerer, neutral. Again, this is another true neutral champion. Support and gold find. Basic attack is magical, by this little icon here. Mind Sliver. Valentine attacks a random enemy with mental magic attack, which deals damage and has a chance to stun them. Ultimate attack, the Arms of Hadar. Look, it's tentacles, folks. About 4 to 8 seconds, they get stunned and take more damage from all sources. That's what it looks like. They're weird, right? It's not like the normal. It's like a weird thing comes out of her. Creepy. She's creepy. And I love it. Main ability. Tregram. Look. There's no pronunciation guide here. The aberrant spirit, that's right, in Valentine's brain telepathically reaches out to the other champions. For each positional formation ability affecting Valentine, she increases the damage of all champions with the DPS roll by 100%, stacking multiplicatively. So, if we so right now, this Ishi would be getting a positional from Omen, right? Champion of Tymora. We put Ishi all the way over here, so he can't get it. See all this little 0 indicator? We move Valentine right here. Now she's getting Champion of Tymora. And if we look at Ishi, Champion of Tymora from Socialite, she's getting it too. So, the key here is positional formation abilities. Make sure they're hitting Valentine. Now, you can have it hit both of them. You can. And then you'll be getting a Champion of Tymora. Right? But you'll be getting it at a boosted rate. Right, we're getting what? 117E20. Right? If I'm doing it here, it's 170E19. So it's making it stronger. Just know you can make it stronger by getting it specifically. Learning Writer says announced Tregram. Okay, cool. All right. So just know you want to point. Ideally, you're pointing at both, but to target Valentine, and she's going to boost it. And she's going to send it where they need to get and give higher damage. You want really high numbers on your Tregram. Socialite. Valentine duplicates any positional formation abilities that are affecting her to champions in the formation. That's what we just... So you just saw the duplication. This is a straight up damage buff to everybody based off how many she's receiving. This is the duplication. So if the receiving champion already has the formation ability, it's instead boosted by a number, right? Doesn't double dip for Artemis, so don't go freaking out. Life of Leisure. Valentine increases the formation's gold find by 100% for each positional formation ability affecting her, stacking multiplicatively. So again, you want to hit her with lots of positionals. That's going to just straight up boost your gold find for her. Okay. Spec choices, all hail the God Brain, my loyal bodyguard and family business. God Brain is if you're doing lots of positionals and you want the damage. Its pre-stack damage is increased by 25%. So if you can get high numbers, great. Family business, I'm bouncing around here for reasons. This is Gold Find. Life of Leisure's Gold Find is increased by 200%. Yes, please. If you're just going for Gold Find, family business. If you're going for damage, this. In most generic formations. My loyal bodyguard is if you're pairing her with Tatiana, another member of the Black Dice Society. So if Valentine's affected by her faithful friend, which is Tatiana's positional buff, it boosts the effect by 200%. So this is specifically just for an affiliation formation. Okay. Go Gold Find. But yeah, Socialite is your power ability. Life of Leisure is your Gold Find ability. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, she's pretty straightforward. It's just you got to manage that stuff. Damage all champions, Tregram, Socialite, Life of Leisure, ultimate attack damage, ultimate cooldown. Those are her items. Feat-wise, damage all champions. Again, Gold Find because she's a gold champion. Rust, why don't you have those? Tregram, which again, if you're stacking for damage, you want to go that way. Socialite, Gold Find, right? Excuse me, for spreading. If you want to buff the spread of it. Which is solid, and this should be in there if I were going for damage, but I'm going for Gold Find usually. Life of Leisure is Gold Find. Well, she's got a Strength feat. This qualifies her for Zariel as a patron. She has a Dexterity feat. Qualifies her for some of the high dex requirement buffs from champions. I can't remember the name, which ones right now, because those are newer. Intelligence qualifies her for Strahd on her own. She has an Air Genasi glitch feat, which makes her count as an Air Genasi along with Half-Elf, and also changes her alignment to Chaotic Evil from neutral. So with this, it's only really it's currently available. I think it's currently available in the Thayan Enclave. Yes. So this is the only way you can get it currently. It's going to be there for 74 days. Well, it'll actually be there for like 83 days. And then once it's out of here, you'll have to wait like 3 months, and then you can buy it for gems. So she has some interesting feats. All right, next up. We just did the 3 gold finders. Who else do we want to put in here? Let's look. We can't have Shandie in an event and not talk about Shandie, folks. So let's talk about Shandie, the hero of Baldur's Gate. Shandie is a fantastic starter speed champion and remains a great speed champion throughout the game. Okay. Female halfling rogue she's part of Heroes of Baldur's Gate. There's so many. This is a kitchen sink affiliation. Chaotic Goods, support speed. Base attack is ranged, fires an arrow at a random enemy. Ultimate attack is survivalist. She throws smoke grenades and caltrops onto the field. Enemies take ultimate damage over 10 seconds and have a 50% chance to miss their attacks. So damage and survivability out of her ultimate. Agile allies. This increases the damage of champions within 2 slots of Shandie by 400% for each champion adjacent to her with dex of 15 or higher. So this is one of the high dex requirement champions that Valentine's feat would work with, right? But Valentine works here as well because within 2 slots, now we can see Valentine has 2, right? So positionals. Dash is her speed effect. Hold on. Yep. Wait, there we go. Dash is her speed effect. Increases the game speed by 25% when the formation hasn't been under attack for 30 seconds. Yes, I want to make sure. Obviously, there's feats that modify this, but this is her base speed function, and it's solid. When it says increases the game speed, this is like a potion. She is a walking, talking speed potion. As long as the formation hasn't been under attack for 30 seconds. Okay. Now there's a feat that takes the 30-second time down to 10 seconds, and there's another feat that doubles the effect of dash, and that effectively makes it 50%. And this should say 10 seconds, but it is 10 seconds. And those 2 feats, fantastic. Okay. Explosive arrow. When the formation's under attack, so when you're no longer doing speed stuff, Shandie attacks with explosive arrows. The damage of all champions is increased by an amount times the largest number of enemies Shandie has hit with a single explosive arrow in the current area. That can be up to 100 enemies. So this is a ramping buff. It's normally we only see ramping buffs on tanks, but she gets one. It's pretty solid. And it stays the entire time. Once you've set it at a high number, it'll stay. Until you move areas. Spec choices. Known allies, alchemists, fire, expertise, or criminal contacts. So known allies, the base effect of agile allies is additively increased by 100% for each Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliated champion in the formation. Older champion, so, additive for numbers. So if you're going full Heroes of Baldur's Gate, this could be a nice solid number. The number you got to beat here is Alchemist Fire Expertise, which is boosts the effect of Explosive Arrow by 400%. I know it's a different buff, but I'm looking to beat. You've got it with Agile Allies. You got to figure, well, how many allies are there? How's that getting buffed? What numbers? But what you're trying to beat overall is the number is 400%, because normally this is a pretty solid one to just choose and run with. Criminal contacts. This is the base effect of Agile Allies is additively increased by 100% for each neutral or evil champion adjacent to her. So once again, something you got to fiddle with. Figure out which of these is the biggest. Most of the time, if I'm just default running her for speed, I'm just going with this. But you have to actually pay attention to figure out which one is her best, depending on your formation. There isn't a one choice fits all. Or one choice is, I should say there isn't a one choice is best for every situation. Items, damage all champions, explosive arrows, agile allies, ultimate attack, and ultimate attack cooldown. Damage all champions feats. Again, a couple of the speed feats we got agile allies feats, we got explosive arrow feats. She gets a wisdom +1, which helps her with certain champions and certain variants. Charisma +1, I guess certain champions and certain variants. Yeah, she's already above the threshold for other things. Let's talk about another fantastic speed champion and buffer that is in this event. Lae'zel joins us from Baldur's Gate 3. She is a member of the Absolute Adversaries affiliation, made up of currently, this is all we know of, is all of the origin characters. This is all of the origin characters from Baldur's Gate 3. Female Githyanki fighter, lawful evil, DPS support, and speed. Base attack is Greatsword. She attacks the closest enemies, plural. So it's a cleave with a swing of her Greatsword. She has a passive ability which makes her crit chance 20%. Normally crit is 2.5%. So she's built. She likes crits. Lethal coordination. She increases the damage of all champions in her column by an amount, including herself. As you can see, it's hitting over here as a positional. It's hitting Valentine, right? So it would go to our DPS wherever they were. Ceramorphosis. Sarah's back. Your formation gains 1 Ceramorphosis stack due to the Mind Flayer Tadpole in Lae'zel's brain. Lae'zel increases the effect of lethal coordination by a large amount for each Ceramorphosis stack, stacking multiplicatively. This is not just the good way. This is the OP way, because this value goes up based off an item, and it's pre-stack. So the more tadpoles in the party, the bigger her buff gets. In a big way. Okay, she likes being with other members of Absolute Adversaries. Doesn't have to be with all of them. But likes more tadpoles. Well, and there's also other champions with tadpoles in the game. Some of the heroes of Baldur's Gate have tadpoles. Narak has a tadpole. Straight to the point. This is the speed effect, and it is a very unique speed effect built for very specific situations. But with enough tadpoles in your party, it works everywhere. It just works good everywhere. So in non-boss areas, whenever an enemy is defeated by anything other than Lae'zel, so click damage, ultimates, and other champions, she has a percentage chance to gain an impatient stack. And you'll see mine is over 100. And when it's over 100, she gains multiple stacks. Okay, 100% she gains 1. Over 100% chance, you'll guaranteed 1 and a chance to get 2. Over 200% guaranteed 2, chance to get 3. When she has 17 stacks, she completes the current area. You just move forward. regardless of what the goal was. And you reset the impatience stacks to the current Ceramorphosis count. This is why I said the more tadpoles in the party, the better her speed effect, because it's going to trigger more often. Stacks persist when changing areas. Now, this is specifically designed to get you past those problematic areas that have quests that say stuff like light 15 torches, open 15 or 25 sarcophagi, that kind of stuff. Or get past, clear the obstruction from the road. And it's like 2 obstructions that take 25 hits each. Well, look, as long as you're killing things, she's like, we're done here, and just moves you forward. That's her big deal skip. She is great for getting you by those quickly. And those have been areas in this game sometimes where progress gets stopped for some people at higher areas. Because if you have to move forward to get to the next thing, and if the enemies are built up, you can't move forward. As long as even if you're killing but not clearing, as long as you're killing, she skips you by it. It's fantastic. All right, Aberration Hunter. So she has favored foes. Aberrations are Lae'zel's favored foe. Every time an aberration spawns, her lethal coordination is multiplicatively increased by 100%, stacking up to 4 times the Ceramorphosis stat counter and resetting when changing areas. So the more tadpoles in the party, the better. Every time an aberration spawns, she just ramps her buff up. 33% chance with each wave in a non-boss area that a Mind Flayer spawns. Mind Flayers are aberrations. Okay, so yet another buff based off, but it's a favored foe mechanic. It'll work with other champions who have favored foe mechanics. Also, lots of Ceramorphosis stacks. Ferocious Warrior. If Lae'zel attacks and any of her targets survive, she is a support champion as well as DPS. So if this is when you're using her as support, her base attack cooldown for her next attack is reduced by 4 seconds. It would also work when she's a DPS, but if you're just not killing yet. Now this is great because normally she has an 8-second cooldown. Spec choices: Champion, Battlemaster, or Eldritch Knight. I find these for very specific situations sometimes, and it may also be based off like if you're using her as a DPS or a support. Champion increases Lae'zel's crit chance by 20% additively, so she'd go to 40%, and her crit damage is increased by 100% multiplicatively, so it would double. Okay, if you're dealing with a formation that's based off like triggering effects based off crits, this might be a great thing, right? Battlemaster. When Lae'zel hits an enemy and they survive, the enemy is distracted and the next champion other than Lae'zel that hits them deals an additional 4 seconds of Bud-based damage. Okay, so this effectively makes somebody else a DPS for a second on their next hit. This can be great with her as a DPS or as a support. It depends on what you're doing. I use it mostly for support. And it's a great way to help get rid of armored enemies. Works on hit base too, but better for armored. This one's better for hit base, but this one's better for armored. Eldritch Knight. Lae'zel now casts Magic Missile immediately after attacking with her greatsword, firing a missile at 3 random targets. I use this for DPS, and I'll use it in support if I'm dealing with hit-based enemies, but not armored. Because each of those hits can take off a chunk of a hit-based enemy. So situational, but also based off your groups here. I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with that one. But yeah, having champions that have effects that give Bud-based damage to other champions, so good to have in your party when you're dealing with armored enemies. It gives you another champion that can move without armored segments. All right, ultimate, Psionic Leap. Lae'zel psionically leaps into the enemies and attacks with a psionic shockwave, stunning them all for a short duration. And this is what it looks like. Boom. She just hops out. There was no one here for her to jump on. But she hops out, does an AoE, hops back, moves on with her day. Item-wise, damage all champions, lethal coordination. Ceramorphosis. This is the big one. Aberration Hunter, ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. A lot of feats, folks. Damage all champions. Self-damage. Lethal coordination. Why do I keep putting a Z in there? I don't know. We're just going to call it that from now on. Ceramorphosis. These are the big ones for damage. Straight to the point. These are the big ones for speed. Aberration Hunter crit chance and crit damage. So adding this crit feat and choosing the crit spec gets her to 50% crit chance. This boosts her crit damage by 60%. So lots of ways to play off crits. That's all we're going to cover today, folks. We'll cover the remaining Flex champions next week when we cover Eliwick. So we're going to take our short musical interlude. We're going to come back. I'll dive into... I still only got 7 questions over here, folks. We'll cover all 7 questions in the next 30 minutes. The song we're going to break with is a song for Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Life of the party, torn from the grave. She never follows, she won't behave. Tentacles and pearls, she'll tear apart your world. Silvers of the mind, head of mind is fair. Princess fortune pain. Fear is hard, don't blame. She's a nightmare, clad in velvet. Can't escape her in your head. If she wants it, she will take it. Twist your thoughts and cut your thread. Your mind is hers to play. Happy Valentine's Day. Betrayed, beheaded, scars left to hide. She will release the dark inside. Death's not eternal. She's not your friend. You're just a tool means to an end. For I can't find a rich terror really on mine. She's a nightmare, clad in velvet. Can't
I really like that song. Really like that song. I need more excuses to play that song. All right. We're back, everybody. I'm going to dive into the questions. This one's a double up. We've got a couple people asking, so let me get this one out of the way to start with. Lapindamort asked it first. Alpha Crawl didn't ask it later. We may have had other people ask it. What's the best champion for a new player to grab? Now, Lapindamort specifically said they went for Lae'zel because speed feels good. Yeah. Wondering if Jim would have been better. Not for speed. Look, Lae'zel does all three of her things well: DPS, support, and speed. Oh, there's the Devourer. We'll talk about them in a second. DPS, support, and speed does all three of those well. Jim is a DPS and a support. Does those things well. A bit more finicky about the formation layout and who's in it. Again, Lae'zel obviously does want Ceramorphosis stacks, but honestly, I've used Lae'zel without it. Still a solid champion. So yeah, I think you're fine with Lae'zel. Now, here's the general thing, though. When you're new, as I did say this at the top, but we'll say it again because it's worth repeating. You're shooting to get 2 champions in every bench seat. That's your first goal. Second goal, 3 champions in every bench seat. This is for Split the Party 1 and Split the Party 2 to get you your Modron cores and your background parties. You can put off Split the Party 3 for a bit. It's not as... The Modron core there isn't as important, and and then if the final party isn't... You got a couple. After those 2... then I feel like there's 3 groups you want to flesh out, and then you can make your choices based on... I'm always trying to make my choices based off fleshing out these 3 groups on a new account. But I'm skipping them completely, prioritizing Split the Party 1 and Split the Party 2. But if these 3 groups fit in, then I go for them. One of those groups is a speed group, right? So speed champions that work well together. And will help me complete content faster. Not all speed champions do that. So like Xander doesn't really help you complete content faster as a new player. Tatiana doesn't help you complete content faster as a new player. You can kind of skip them. But there's other champions that do, right? And Lae'zel's one of them. Shandie's one of them in this event. So that's good. A pushing group, right? So anyone that can give you a strong pushing, well, Rust is going to help with that in this event. Lae'zel does a good job with that. Omen and Valentine do good jobs with that. Jim does a good job with that in the right situations, right? They're all semi-situational, but they have really strong buffs. And then a gold find party, right? A party that just straight up boosts gold find percentage. Well, Rust's pretty great at that. Omen's great at that. Valentine can with enough positional formation abilities. Ishi's an older champion, needs a rework. Would do a lot better, right? But is what it is. Obviously, there's some other champions. We'll go over the others in full next week. Beelgrim, our only tag team champion in the game. Interesting debuff. There's some gold find and some buffage. Prudence is a pure DPS. Voronika is a support. Evil support counts as dead. So very situational, but also very manual play, which makes it a little harder. There's a lot of RNG in her kit. All right, we'll talk about all of those other champions next week. So I think again, I think it's split the party 1, then split the party 2, then try to fill out those 3 groups. And once you're past there, it's just whatever you feel like you want to do, or what you might need for patrons, right? I'm seeing a lot of... Hold on. I want to make sure. Oh, yeah, okay. Laftel... Well, you know what? Hold on. Let's talk about the Devourer real quick. Here, folks, here's the Devourer. Starts on the screen. Hit-based. You got to hit it 50 times. You can click on it. You can fire off all your ultimates on it. They all work if they're hitting back there. Clicks will work as long as clicks only work once every 5 seconds. But I'm clicking a little faster just in case. I just don't want them. See, they're gonna. I tried to interrupt the bite. Oh, I did. It worked. We got a stun off that interrupted the bite, and now it's dead. All right, but we did lose 2 champions along the way. We did a good job of interrupting the bites. That's the Devourer, though. And they stay devoured because they were still in the belly and it didn't clear. They'll be back now. There we go. Devourer's super annoying. Lavdol, I have Lae'zel already, but I use her pretty regularly. Are there 3 other flex slots worth getting more than upgrading her purples? It depends on how many champions you've unlocked on your account. Truly. If you have all 3 of those groups I was talking about built out and they're solid, and like you're like clearing trials amount Tiamat solid, like with no issues. If you just want to gear up Lae'zel and get more epics on her so that you can put more legendary effects on her, that's a valid choice. But if you're still at the point of the game where you haven't done split the party 1 or 2, 3 is I mean, you would want that too, but I guess. But you're so if you've done all the split the parties, or if you haven't done all the split the parties yet, or you haven't accessed trials, or you don't have those other groups fully fleshed out, you need champions. You need champions more than you need gear, because blues are fine. Blues will do a lot of work until you get to the point where you're needing to upgrade epics with legendary effects to complete, Trials of Mount Tiamat content. You can do I did trials with groups mixed with blues and purples all the way through tier 6 on my most recent new player account. And I could have done tier 7. I don't know what would have happened beyond that. I feel like I would have needed more purples, and I may have then been looking to get more epics. It depends on your progress. Usually having more champions different champions is a bigger deal early on, as long as you're in blues or better. But at a certain point, you start needing those legendary effects, and to put those on it, and pigments, support, and pigments, any kind of pigments, not just support. And you need epics to use those. So, Rough Rider, do you still have an occasional meeting with Pete? Yes. Can you share what we really want? That we really want multi-tier as a permanent feature. Well, everybody told that to the devs yesterday. That isn't. They're looking at a lot of, and they explained yesterday, and I did at the top of this stream as well, that they're going to look at feedback from the community, but also they really have to look at stats. They're really going to have to look at internal stats. People really like, as an example, as a pertinent example, people really loved just the overabundance of free stuff that came with seasons and the $10 season pack when they existed. But that was destructive to the game from the studio standpoint. There's a reason seasons went away, right? So if multi-tier, no matter how much people like multi-tier, if multi-tier based off their internal numbers is damaging to the game, they're not going to leave it. And it doesn't matter who says they want it at that point. So you just gotta, play the game, enjoy the game, and we'll see what happens. Rough Rider, isn't Eliwick normally in Ahghairon's day? I used to have all of the champions listed by event, and then people were like, we can't find champions, can't you just do it alphabetically? And then I did it alphabetically, but now I can't remember who was in what event anymore, because that was helping me. That was what was helping me remember. I didn't say here. Trying to check her original release information, because I honestly don't remember. It's not something I memorize. I don't even see it listed here, so I have no idea. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. How could I? Oh wait, hold on. I can find it. I want to get this answer because I actually want to know this answer too. Right. No, she was part of Midsummer. She was part of Midsummer. I've got an older guide for Eliwick and it had that listed. So yeah, Eliwick was Midsummer. Puny, is there any specific strategy to opening Modron chests? No. Can I always open them whenever I have one available? Yeah, just open it. Yeah. There's no strategies for Modron chests. Epic Raz, can you explain this? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe end with that next time. Add Briv and level him up and check Rust's incoming effects from Briv. Netherese Steel gives increased bonus value. Then total bonus value is not changed. Should it be higher? Epic Raz. I'm not even gonna attempt this. I'm not support or QA. So I would suggest if you're seeing something odd, and this is good for everybody, but specifically for this scenario, when you're seeing something that feels odd to you in the game, down at the bottom right, there's a question mark. You can't see it on screen, but if you hover over it, it says support. Click it, open a support ticket, and do 3 things. Put 3 things in your support ticket. First paragraph, explain what you're seeing. Second paragraph, explain what you expected to see. Third paragraph, the final thing, just closing sentence. Ask them which way is it supposed to work? The way you're seeing it or the way you expect it. That's how you submit tickets here, because they're actually going to respond to you. Now, in most games, you would just do the first 2, and then make a closing statement of like, "I'm super confused," because I don't know. And I'm not gonna like troubleshoot a bug live on stream because all I would be able to do is submit a ticket for it if it was buggy. But ultimately, one of the ways you're going to figure out how the game works is submit a ticket when you're confused, because it very well could be a bug, but it might just be that you're just not understanding it. And if it turns out that, and it's important for them to know this, because if it turns out that the way it's presented is confusing to people, they need that information so they can fix that. Because it may not be that it's a bug. It may just be that the wording is wrong, is unclear, and then they know to change it. So yeah. Whenever you run into something that doesn't seem like it's working the way it should, submit a ticket. You don't have to ask in the community first. You don't have to ask on a stream or in a Discord or on the Reddit. I see people doing this all the time. You also don't report your bugs on the Reddit. I see people doing that all the time. Submit a ticket. Yeah, and if you can if you know exactly how to reproduce it, put those steps in there as well, just in case it is a bug. I'm toast. With Rust middle spec, if you reach the cap but then remove a gold champion or an Oxventure champion, thereby lowering the cap, do you still keep the stacks you've earned, or are they lowered to the new cap? They're lowered to the new cap, is my understanding. Because you can't, if the cap is, let's say you get, with all of your stuff, you have 357. You change your spec, or you let's just say you remove a champion to see if another champion would be better. Well, when you remove that champion, the cap goes down. And so the maximum stacks you have goes down to match the new cap. Then you add a champion back in that qualifies for that. You got to build back up. I really don't feel like there's any memory system in this game. Yeah, for that. You could ask for it. I don't have enough to really. I guess I could just park something in. You can ask them to do that, but yeah, I would say it's just going to go down. I would fully expect it to just drop to the cap, and then you have to earn more again. Yeah. Which is, again, is a problem with those caps. I think that would be a great. I really think just, submit feedback about that to the devs on Dev Insights. If it's going down like that and not going back up immediately, that's feedback, because it takes a while to get those stacks. And you should have the freedom to move people in and out of your formation. Firefox. For my 2 core, I need another. Okay, for the split the party 2, I need a second champion in slot 5. Cool. This event offers 2, Valentine or Prudence. Which should I choose? Valentine. There are some Prudence fans that exist in this community. Like, you can be a fan of any champion you want to be a fan of. Prudence is a pure DPS with a single target attack and a slow attack speed. And even though she can do a lot of damage, she has no real wave clear, so you have to rely on some other champions to give her wave clear or fire breath. But I don't know. Valentine is just solid. She's a good support. She's a good gold find champion. I don't use her as much as I could. I'm fine with other formations, but if I were choosing between those two, I would pick Valentine. For just functionality. For multiple different types of functionality, I rarely use Prudence. There's rarely a situation where I'm like, Prudence is the best champion for this. And with 100, coming up on 140 champions in the game, not quite there yet. Every champion every event champion at least should have a situation where they shine, and I don't feel like Prudence has that. Lepin de Mort. Should I be hoarding blacksmith scrolls or just using them on my best or favorite champions? Ultimately, do whatever the heck you want. It's your game. Okay. But because you asked, there's some general rules of thumb in the community. The first one is the big one, and that's don't use them on core or evergreen champions. Do use them on event champions. Event champions are where they should go. The reason being, those core and evergreens, like your core 12 that you start the game with, and the evergreens like Dritz and Azaka that you unlock, and Hitch that you get from outside of events, like in the game outside of events. They get their duplicate item levels from regular silver and gold chests, and you're going to get so many of those playing this game. You don't need to worry about using blacksmithing contrast to put item levels onto those champions. So you keep them for your event champions. Now, once you're in that event champion pool, there are some recommendations. If you have a speed champion like Humon, who has an item that boosts their speed effect, that's a priority target. This champion would be a priority target because they have that. The exception to this rule being Xander. We kind of mentioned that earlier. Xander's not a good speed champion. Stay away from Xander for speed. Stay away from Xander in general. But if they've got that boost from an item, great. But like if we look at Lae'zel, nothing here that would boost her speed effect that's an item. So she wouldn't need she's still a priority for item levels for a different reason, but we'll get to that. But speed champions first. Diana has an item. We'll be right back. Boost speed effect. So kind of first priority speed champions. And I think getting them up to an average item level of 50 is a good target to start with. What do I mean by that? If I hit search here, I come over here, down over here under sort, I'm going to click right, and it's going to sort by item level. And it's going to show you the average item level, this eye level number. This is an average, because specifically these are all over the place. But if I average it out, it's like 253. 50 is a good starting number for an average for a speed champion that has an item that boosts the speed effect. And then you can look at putting 50 also in your main pushing group that are event champions. So if you've got Lae'zel in your main pushing group after this event, 50 item levels is going to help. It's going to give them a lot of power. I tested this theory out on my most recent account, new account that I started. And not only did the starting with the speed champions help really speed up my progress, it also gave them power just to use them in formations with those 50 average item levels, to the point where just with those 50 average item levels on most of them, I was able to do Rhea's unlock variant, which is a pretty solid test of a formation and power in like kind of transitioning from the early game to the mid game with a speed formation, which blew my mind. That shouldn't have happened. But that was enough. That was all it needed. And then the 50 average item levels on my pushing group helped me do up to tier 6 of trials. Like 50 average item levels is a good chunk when you're starting out. The next step after that, 100 average item levels. But again, start with your speed champions. And some speed champions are then going to want even more and more and more. But I caution you to get a good balance between, like, get item levels on your speed group and your pushing group. Get them a good base of power before going all in on like your speed group. So those are good. I think that's a good generalized way to start spending those. Because those are power, and you want that power out there to help you progress. And starting with your speed champions is going to help you earn gems faster, which means you're going to get more chests, which means you're going to get more of those contracts. So it's a bit of a snowball, and you want to get that snowball started. Crack Davidson, it's better put your gems in golden chests so you have epics on your evergreens before you start figuring out what feats to get with gems. Yes! And I'm proud of you for figuring that out on your own. Absolutely. In fact, like, you know, once you've got green or better gear from silver chests on your core and evergreen champions, you should only be really buying gold from that point on, in my opinion. Because you're going to get epics on this core and evergreens. You're going to get feats for all champions in the game. They come out of regular gold chests. And until you get to the point where you're earning a lot of gems with, you know, like so many gems that it's easy then to start buying like the 12.5k gem feats. You don't really want to save up for those, right? Like my rule of thumb now is if you can earn, you know, that 12,500 gems in 5 days or less of regular play, of your whatever your regular play is, then yeah, you can buy one of those. It should be a speed feat. You should target speed feats first. I sound like a broken record, but it's because so much of this creates a snowball for you and helps you progress. Get the speed feats first, and then ignore all the others. And then when you can afford 50,000, when you can save 50,000 gems in 5 days or less of playing regular play, 50k speed feats, right? And then you can start experimenting with like, well, are there stat feats out there that are going to help and get my speed champions into more places? That's useful first. And then are there certain feats that are gonna help boost those multiplicatively stacking abilities, but buff the pre-stack multipliers? Those are huge once you're at that point too. But even on this account, I don't own all the feats because there's no reason for me to. Like, there's points where I might want to use some of these at some point. Haven't needed them yet, so I haven't bothered buying them. And I'm sitting on, well, I'm not sitting on a lot of gems right now, but usually I'm sitting on over 1 million gems. So yeah, you definitely want to focus more on gold chests than feats. And only when it's like when you're starting to earn a lot quickly do you then start waiting, like saving up for the more expensive things. Because otherwise it's gonna grind your progress down. You're not going to be able to progress because you're not gaining any power anymore. So you got to get that base of power first, and then you can start saving up. Sergeant, does the Potion of Gem Hunter work additively with event boons? No. It works multiplicatively because they're dealing with percents. Whenever you're dealing with percents off of a potion, they're all their own unique multipliers. The only additive effects are these fire breath effects because they're based off seconds. So you're adding seconds. But all the other all these other potions are multipliers, and they're all their own unique multipliers. That's why like full stacks of these is this times this times this times this times this, right? And it's going to be the same way with this times whatever other gem bonus effect you've got going on. Hadoof, can you explain what's meant by something applying additional X bud base damage? Sure. So for Lae'zel's spec, does that mean the next attack deals your current bud damage times 4? Yes. Yeah, you got it. So if it says 4 seconds of bud base damage, this is bud down here. This number that's showing here and changing is your bud. It's your base ultimate damage. So it's 4 times, if it says 4 seconds of bud damage, it's 4 times whatever is showing next to the lightning bolt. Okay. Some champions get even more numbers, but that's what it's talking about. And this is determined by the hardest hit your formation has done divided by the attack speed of that person. It is literally your damage per second. So as you can see, if we're hitting with a 7-second attacker, 4 seconds of bud is roughly half of one of their attacks. But if you're dealing with someone that's a 3-second attacker, 4 seconds worth of bud is actually more damage than they would do. Right. So yeah, it's creating a functional secondary DPS off that additional bud-based damage. Lae'zel's is a one-off, like it's if she hits doesn't kill it, which would happen on an armored boss. Then the next attack, hopefully if you're just hitting that boss, then would take a segment off as well, regardless of who it's from. Other people just grant this as part of their kit under other reasons. Some people have feats for it. Where's Human's Immolation? Deals 1 second of bud damage every second for 5 seconds when they attack someone. If 1 second of bud damage is enough to take off an armor chunk, then they're going to take off an armor chunk every second for 5 seconds. Right? So these are powerful functions when you're dealing with armored enemies. They're also going to help with hit-based stuff, but hit-based stuff only needs 1 damage to remove. So those dot ones are going to help with those, clear those faster, but they're really the big power is armored stuff. Joni Twitch, can you have the same legendary effect on a character more than once, like on a different item? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Crack Davidson, who's the first champion you should spin blacksmithing contracts on? It depends on who you have, but you know, in an ideal world, it's a speed champion that has item support. Briv, what you named Briv here, Briv works, but Briv early on when you're putting like your first 50, 100 average item levels into Briv, what you're doing is building a better tank and buffer for your party. His speed effect doesn't scale that well early on. Human's scales better. Diana's scales way better. So early item levels into them work. I have been known to just dump tons of item levels in Briv first. I'll do it every time. I'll throw my first average 100 item levels on Briv anytime I start a new player account if he's the speed champion that I unlock first that has item support. And I won't think twice about it because I'm getting a little bit better, a tiny little bit better of a speed effect sometimes. But I'm getting a huge tank that I know is going to carry me through the early game, through the mid game, and into the late game and beyond. Right? Yeah. So that works. But yeah, I mean, any of your speed champions that have item support, again, other than Xander. Well, and Tatiana. Xander and Tatiana have... Xander is not a good speed champion, period. Tatiana speeds specific things up, but not like your generic progress and earning gems. Psycho Noria just started the game recently. I'm kind of stuck at the event. Pick Valentine in her tier 2 positional play variant. Denies all buffs. Except positional buffs. Correct. I'm not able to get past the level 200 boss. Is that the end of the campaign? Well, no. You've got 3 weeks, right? And you're going to be able to unlock other champions. And you're going to be able to go do other things. Like, just get out of that if you can't do it. And then when you're making your other flex choices, keep in mind, again, positionality, like positional, which bench seat they're in and how you're progressing to stuff. But
But here's the thing. You just said, I just started the game recently. Well, then the tier for you that you're guaranteed to clear as a new player is tier 1. And you've done that already. Trying to delve into tier 2 is a much bigger challenge. And you just may not have the power on your account yet. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think if you give it a couple more weeks, you unlock some more. You're going to have Eliwick. You're going to get another flex champion. You'll also have more time to open up more, spend more, earn more gems, open those up, get more power. Yeah, you very well may be fine. You may find yourself trying that again in the last week of the event and being okay. Right now, yeah, you just don't have the power for it, and that's totally fine. Again, you're not expected to if you've only started the game recently. You're not expected to do more than tier 1. You might, depending on the restriction, be able to do 1 or 2 or even all 3 of the tier 2 variants if they're easy. But that one's a harder one, so it just may not be available for you to complete right now. And if you're new, you definitely probably, unless you're throwing a lot of cash at the game, wouldn't be able to get past tier 2. All right, folks, we are on our way out. I see one more question coming in. We're going to finish that real quick, but then we got to get out of here so Gabe can start their weekend. Aiden, does it matter when you open chests in regards to the quality of the items you get? Sort of. So if you open a gold chest, event chest at 75 versus area 75 versus area 600 during a run, is the item offered better? No. That's not a thing. And that will never be a thing. But here's the thing. There are rules for what come in chests, and there are rules for how things drop. And gold chests have a rule where they're guaranteed to drop a blue item, and they're guaranteed to drop an upgrade up to blue. So the upgrade isn't guaranteed to be the blue. So there's rules about when you open chests in regards to the quality of items you can get. Yes. Not in the way you're saying. So, like, a lot of times I recommend people open lots of silver chests on a core and evergreen champions to get those champions up to green. But then you start opening golds, because then if you're at green, you're guaranteed to get a blue out of those golds, right? There's just no way to guarantee an epic. With event champions, you start with electrums first. You open the electrums from streams like this one. And try to get your champions up to green or better, and then dump named silvers if you have any, if you still have some that are like white or empty, and then do the gold again. You wait on the golds until you're green or better, because then you're getting, every gold is giving you at least a blue. You don't want that upgrade out of a gold to be a green. That's like, right? All right, we're out of here, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back again next week for part 2 of this. You can find me on my channel, though, Mondays and Wednesdays, Idle Chatter, over at twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. You can click on my name in there if you don't know how to spell it. Toss me a follow. We play Idle Champions over there, and I make my guides. I've got over 170 guides over on the subreddit. I'll throw that link in chat as well. And this should help you progress in the game and progress in the event. But you can come ask questions over there on Mondays and Wednesdays. This is the last stream on this channel for this week. Streams will return on Tuesday. But I stream also other games over on my channel. I'll be streaming in about an hour-ish. We might very well be finishing the game we're playing. We're playing a game called Another Crab's Treasure, which is a Souls-like. And it's very punny and great. Come join us and hang out. We're going out of here. Oh, thank you to all of you for asking questions. Thank you to Gabe for grabbing them. We're going out of here with a song for Omen Drawn. This is From the Desk of Omen Drawn, #ad. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Started out with a simple tune, friendly and saccharine like a cartoon. Let the listener have no doubt, they need to feel the fear of missing out. We'll inspire them with epic riffs and emotional music gift. Rouse your feelings toward our cause, and our ad with arousing applause, and then the hook should be customer recruitment run, 'cause our old clients are all out of funds. Avoid talking about any deals, we just want to give them the feels. And then the hook should be big and strong and catchy. Distract them from noticing we're sketchy. Do a chord shift on the chorus to make no room to adore us. There's more for us when we swindle their trust. Take it down to a minor scale, demonstrate the ways our rivals fail. This song is a testament to our return on investment. And then the finale is soft and calm and nurturing, so they won't realize just how much they're purchasing. Try to keep it soft and sweet and gentle. Coerce these fools with something sentimental. Appeal to their greed, make them think it's our sweet need. Then we'll get tamer for the final disclaimer. There's more for us when we swindle their trust.
Yeah, okay, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.